Okay, so once again, everyone, good evening. For those who don't know me, I'm Yetty Olaguji. I'm a medical doctor, and I'm interested in impacting adolescents for purposeful impact. And I've been on this. My passion actually began in university when a colleague of mine became pregnant in our first year in school. And, this led to her being, stigmatized, and she was even rejected by her parents. She became pregnant. The person she even got pregnant to was like, someone like an alcoholic. And so the parents completely rejected her and left her to the guy. And she struggled almost throughout school. And so, because I've always, had passion to build adolescents for purposeful impact, I've been working in this area for over a period of time now. And my focus has been on, I go to schools, I educate them, I teach them, life building skills and some other things. But with the recent events, around us, you see a lot of social vices, ritual killing, and so many things happening. And so I felt that I should also extend what I've been doing to parents. And that was what gave birth to this maiden edition of this meeting today that we are having. And I intend to sustain this by having this meeting once every 2 months. So that's my intention. So I will be having a presentation. Thereafter, we can make a contribution, ask questions if there are, and we can also discuss the next steps. So thank you very much once again for joining me on this platform. I'm really very grateful. And so let me just go straight to my slide. And I'll be starting with things I mentioned earlier on about the moral decadence our society is having. So I'll quickly mention that because that's what brought about all of these things that I'm doing now, because I feel that we need to reach out more to parents, possibly because some parents don't really have the technical know-how to support these children during this phase of their vulnerability, because I'll say that adolescents, this period is very peculiar for them. It's a vulnerable period for them. And so as we move on, we will be able to understand more why this phase between the ages of 10 and 19 years is a peculiar period that requires our support as parents. So thank you. I'll be sharing my slide now. So I've titled this meeting, Knowing Your Teenagers. So I think that if we understand certain things about adolescents, about their development, then maybe we'll be able to support them better. So the outline of the meeting, we're going to talk about the objective, the challenges of adolescents, the vulnerability factors. Then we'll discuss who an adolescent is. Then we'll also talk about parental support that is required. So the objective of this meeting is to educate parents on the factors promoting the vulnerability of adolescents, to create awareness among parents about the uniqueness of the 21st century adolescents, to highlight the possible areas of parental support required. So, like I mentioned before, these are the challenges that many of us are aware about. These are the challenges that our adolescents are facing at the moment. Teenage prostitution. If you live in Akure, I'm sure you agree with me that a lot of teenagers are involved in prostitution nowadays. Around 7, 8 o'clock in the evening, you see them lined up around the Yoma side, and they are trying to see who can, pick them for the night. And also you will see some secondary school students, they go with Okada riders, and we have so many of all of these things happening, at the moment. Then we also have, of course, from the prostitution, many of them would get pregnant because they are not aware of comprehensive sexuality education. Then substance and drug abuse are also problems that adolescents also face. Then we have HIV and sexually transmitted infections. We have depression and suicide. I remember when I went to give a talk somewhere in Osun State, I came across 2 adolescents who were really on the verge of committing suicide. They were really sobbing and crying. And when I asked them some questions, I discovered that it was because their parents didn't actually know how to handle them, and they didn't really understand them. And that's what caused their depression. Their parents were comparing them with their siblings. And they were almost, on the verge of committing suicide when I came across them. So that's the more reason why we are also having this, because depression is increasing daily among university students, even secondary school students. And from there, if it's not properly managed, it leads to suicide. Then bullying. I'm sure we are all aware of what happened at Dowen Secondary School recently. Then peer pressure is also one of the problems that they are having. Addiction to cyberspace, which affects the academic performance. And not just addiction to affecting the academic performance is really the issue, but the fact that they begin to indulge in some of these activities that they see online. Like recently, if you read the papers, I'm sure you'll be able to, you will find out that there were some teenagers, I think girls or so, that they were picked because they saw human head in their bags. And what happened? I think they watched this thing on social media, and they decided to practice it. And so you see all of these things happening around us in our environment today. Then child marriage is not so much of a problem around us, but of course, it's also, it's increasing. Then incest is also a problem. Father having, intercourse with the child, and so many other things like that are happening. Then gender-based violence, we have rape, incest, and other forms of sexual perversion. Then social vices, kidnapping, armed robbery, Yahoo plus, ritual killing. Like also, I'm sure you must have also seen this. About 4 young boys, they paraded them, they asked them where they were going. They said they were looking for who to teach them how to, be involved in Yahoo and the process to take and all that. Ages of 7, 9, 10, and 13 thereabouts. So these are issues in our environment. I think that parents really need to really be in charge now to know what is happening to their children. Then let's talk about the vulnerability factor, the societal factors. We have ignorance of parents. Many parents do not really understand these changes that occur during this period. This period, like I said, when a child clocks 10, between 10 and 19 years, they become vulnerable. It's a period of experimentation. They just want to experiment because they are having certain developmental changes within them that really want them to experiment. So it's whatever they see around them, particularly if they are not guided, that they want to experiment with. They experiment with sex, experiment with alcohol and drugs and all of that. And so parents don't really understand this what happens during this period to be able to support them adequately. Then we have a highly religious society. What do I mean by that? There was a time I went to give a talk on radio, and I was talking about family planning, and a parent attacked me and told me that I should not say that am I encouraging the children to be having sex? I said I'm an advocate of abstinence, but notwithstanding, when you give lectures on comprehensive sexuality education, you must let them have informed, let them have all that is available and tell them this is the best, tell them why you think is the best and what may happen to them if they go the other way, but expose them to all of this. And I asked the man who asked me, I said, when you have 2 devils, there is a bigger devil and a lesser devil. When they come home with pregnancy and HIV/AIDS, and you introducing them to maybe using condom and other family planning methods, I asked him which one he would prefer to have. Is it somebody who uses a protective method, or somebody who comes home with pregnancy and HIV/AIDS. So of course, he couldn't really answer me. So these are issues that, you know, we really need to tackle. Our parents shy away from some of these things. When a child begins to menstruate, they just tell the child, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. Many of us shy away from explaining into details what some of these things mean. We can't tell them about sex. We can't tell them about, you know, basic things. And we call some of these things, we call their private parts. We can't mention penis. We can't mention vagina. We code it with all sorts of names. We say really, all sorts of things. And by the time we start coding those things, the children now feel there's something about this that I need to explore. And sometimes when they even ask us questions, we don't even answer them. We just tell them, keep quiet. What do you know? And so many things like that. And we just assume that they don't know anything. Meanwhile, they have access to all this information online. We may decide not to give them phones. We decide not to allow them have access to internet, but we can't always be with them. They go to school, they go everywhere. They even learn on the internet in school. Are we going to be teleguiding them to say, don't watch this, don't watch this? Rather, I think it's better to expose them, tell them the difference between the right and the wrong. And so it's a problem in our society. Then poor parental skills. 21st century parenting is a different ballgame. It's different from our, my generation, if I may say, where everything is beating. Before you give instruction, you beat. If you continue that kind of method, I'm sure that we will continue to lose our adolescents. Then poverty, it's a major problem. A lot of transactional sex are happening now, where you have maybe a girl, just in exchange for 100 naira or 200 naira, they sleep with her. And sometimes even to pass the exam, what's happening in higher institutions where they give sex for marks and all of that. So poverty is a major issue in Nigeria particularly. Then technology, of course, that is, we have the positive effect of it and negative effect, but the negative effect is really getting at our children now. They are exposed to all manner of information. And the fact is that because parents are not always available, they now decide to seek, they look for models on social media, the models that they follow. I was in a meeting one day and a young person stood up and was telling us that young children, your adolescents or youth, they don't really want to talk to their parents. They prefer to have idols on social media. So you see them, all of those, in quotes, negative idols, you see them and our children want to emulate them. That's how Yahoo is, is progressive, because you will see so many of these people on social media that our children are following. You see their followers, you see thousands, sometimes millions, and yet the good models, very few people are following them. So these are issues with the adolescents of today. Then societal neglect. We just assume that once the children clock 10 or maybe 15 thereabouts, they are able to take care of themselves and we can leave them. Particularly now that Nigeria is becoming, maybe tough now, if I may say, and the father and the mother have to work to make ends meet. And so nobody really pays attention to the children. We just say in the morning before they go, we've gone. By the time we are coming back, they've slept. And the cycle continues. There's no time to discuss with them. There's no time to bond with them. There's no time to even, understudy them to know what is happening to them. So these are issues that make these children more vulnerable to risk factors. So let me talk about who an adolescent is. Like I said before, there are children between the ages of 10 and 19 years. They are unique. They are very, very unique because they are strong, they have energy, they are agile, they are productive, if only we can harness their potentials into productive use. So they really need to be guided. So the adolescent period is a transitional period between the childhood and adulthood. They are not yet adults and yet they are no longer children. And it's a period of experimentation. They want to just experiment. It's not their fault. Their body, their organs, everything within them is developing. And they just want to experiment. That's how they feel. So it's not really their fault that they want to experiment, but We really need to guide them into what they will experiment with. That's why we need to be present in every phase of their life as friends. Then is a period of self-discovery and preparatory phase. They need to, is a period where they discover themselves. They want to know, they want to have a kind of identity. They want to have their own unique choices. So it's really a peculiar period that makes them vulnerable. So developmental changes in adolescence. We have the physical changes. We all know that. We have emotional changes. We have cognitive changes and psychosocial changes. So these are physical changes in girls. I'm sure these are things that we know. Breast enlarges, growth of hair under the armpit and pubic region, menstruation, uterus, clitoris, hips, and labia increases in size. Then they start growing tall. So these are normal things that we all know that we've all passed through. Then changes in boys, enlargement of testicles and scrotum, commencement of wet dreams, lengthening and increase in the size of penis, dipping of the boys, and so on and so forth. We all know this. So the psychological changes, self-consciousness, they just become, conscious of themselves. The girls start to, when they are dressing up, they look twice at themselves because they feel that the opposite sex, they are being attracted to opposite sex. Then emotional and social dependence. They want to just be independent. They don't want to be corrected. It's not their fault. I remember when I was a teenager, I used to wake my mom because she was always nagging, correcting me for various things, and I just hated her. And there was a time that I wanted to run away from home, sincerely. Thank God I gave my life to Christ on time. And that was when, God started talking to me and all that. So I feel that when our parents understand what these children go through, then they will be able to support them better. Their new self-image. Now, they don't dress. The man also, has beards and different things now. They want to have their own self-identity. Daddy has his own. So what is, who is, they will be defining who they want to be to themselves. And so this is the period, if not well managed, their peers lure them into different things. And if care is not taken, they might be lost at this level. Then self-appraisal. They just want the opinion of others. Like maybe in secondary school, like my daughter was telling me, she said some belong to the popular group. She said they have a clique, popular group. Maybe a smart person starts a group or a dumb person starts a group. So if you are a smart person and you join the group of the dumb group, then automatically you no longer do well in school, you become dumb. Because me, I talk a lot discussing different things that happened in school so that I can guide. That's how I knew about this. And so these things happen, among our adolescents. They start different things, start to share ideas and all of that. So these are all psychological changes. Then cognitive changes. The brain is developing, developing rapidly. And at this point, many adolescents until very, very late, around 16 to 18 years, they think concretely. What do I mean? They think that 1 + 1 is, they know is 2. But by the time they now start to think abstractly, they know that there's something called consequences of my action. So maybe I need to consider the consequences of my action before I take a decision. So all of this, these are cognitive changes that occur. And what molds the changes, the cognitive changes that they experience? They are the culture and the norms. And that's why we have to be good role models as parents, because it is whatever they pick up in the environment that they grow up with, that their brain develops with. So because this is the time where they're beginning to develop values, then problem-solving skills. If we don't expose them to solve problems, and we do everything for them, we still take them as children, we do everything for them, they will never develop. They will never develop. And so values as parents, what are our values? Because you need to know what you are doing as a parent before you can rub up on your child. And so these are the issues that these children go through when they have cognitive changes. Then social changes of adolescence. There are some social developmental tasks that adolescents undergo. Acceptance of their physical changes. They need to accept their new look. Some of the girls, maybe the ones that are now grow very big. They don't like their shape because they're now self-conscious. So they don't like their shape. They don't like, they start to, so many things. They can even go into depression. But if we understand that these are things they are common among adolescents, then we'll be able to support them. Then like I was asking my daughter, I said, you change I was asking her about shape and all that. She said, that's true, because that some people can be depressed. I said, are you depressed? I quickly asked her. He said, no. So because I'm aware about this, that's why I can be asking to find out if these things have started happening to her so that I can quickly support. Their independence, they want to be independent. They don't want you to encroach into their privacy. They don't want it. They don't like it. They need to make unique choices. They are friends. And so if we become their friends, before they even get to that age of 10 years, they see us as somebody they can easily confide in. They can quickly come and meet. You won't be judgmental to say, that kind of thing. I'm sure that they will find it very easy to discuss with us. Then crave for intimate experiences and relationships. It's not their fault. It is part of their developmental changes. They crave for intimate experience and relationship. So we are the ones that will tell them that, yes, your body may be feeling somehow, but you know that if you start this activity now, it may not, you have goals, because I'll get there, life building skills and all that. Because if you as an adult understand life and goal setting, then you'll be able to teach them how to set small goals, how to set long-term goals, and you relate their decision-making to those goals that they set. Then self-identification. They just want to identify. And this is the period where they go online, they identify with different people, Naira, all sorts of, celebrities online, and they follow them. Some have tattoo on their body and all sorts of things, because of their models that they are looking up to. Then career choices. At this point, it still happens that a lot of parents still they impose what they want on their children. I want you to study medicine. I want you to study this. And it must be so, no explanation provided. You just force your opinion on them. These things affect these children. So developmental changes predisposes adolescents to the following. Like I said, risky behavior such as sexual intercourse, alcohol and drug abuse and rape, peer pressure and wrong influence, independence to choose their career and friends, identification with social media models, like I explained before, depression, inferiority complex, anxiety disorder. And so if this inferiority complex, because particularly for the girl child, who is beginning to have, different hormonal imbalance. So she may be depressed. She may have certain low mood. But if it persists, then it's now depression. Then the inferiority complex part is that when they have this, if we don't let them freely express themselves, then we discourage them at every attempt they want to make, or maybe all parents, we do well in school. I was the first person, I used to be the first in school and all of that. And so we tell our children, if we don't encourage them, we are not positive in our attitude and all of that. And so these children just keep going down. And we will not, when we are not even available, we will not understand when these things are happening to them. So permit me to use this sign. I didn't even know it, but my daughter saw it and said, Mommy, this means fuck you. Sorry, that's not what I intend to portray here, but I'm just trying to say that what adolescents hate, this is what they hate. They hate naggers. They hate when you correct them, you continue to say it. You stay on one particular topic, you keep saying it. They hate when you nag. Then they hate when you are judgmental. Maybe when they want to divulge, confide in you certain things, information, and you now start judging them without even listening to them. When you make comparison, parents usually fall into this trap. Maybe you have a smarter child and one that is not so smart, and you now start comparing it rather than looking as in, you get the strength of this, and you try to manage the weakness of the other. We can't see we're born, that kind of thing. The children I said I saw in Osun State, this was what was happening to them. Despite the fact that this child was beautiful and brilliant, the father never saw anything good in her, because maybe the father didn't want a girl child anyway. So he kept comparing her with the brother. And so she was sobbing when I saw her. And so these are things that they don't like. Then when you impose your opinion on them with no explanation, I want you to do this. No explanation provided. And that's why I said 21st century parenting is not like it used to be. When you just like our own, just say, I just want you to do this. No explanation, nothing. But right now they will rebel. If they don't speak out, they will be doing other things behind you and you will not know. When they are not allowed to express themselves freely, when you keep shutting them down, keep quiet. If they want to talk, you keep quiet. You understand? If you want to correct them, they should be corrected in love. When you don't show love and attention, but only give gifts, this is common with busy parents. You just feel that, let me just bombard them with chocolate, bombard them with all manner of gifts, and you are away, Kafanchan, today, London, tomorrow, you are everywhere, but never with your child. These are issues that these children don't like. I will always say this, I say it everywhere I go. When I read that story, it really touched me, and that's why I use that as an example everywhere I go. The story I read about a woman, I don't know if you must have read it, a woman who had 2 children, very busy woman, the husband also very busy, and they were never at home. They just got house help and a relative to stay with those children. They had a boy and a girl as children. And so this relative and the house help, they got a pornography film and they were watching, and they were demonstrating and teaching the children how to practice what they were watching. And so by the time the mom realized it, she just came home one day and discovered what was happening in their living room. And so by the time she discovered, it was already late. Of course, they sent those people packing, but the deed was already done. The guy was having sex with the sister. And so they were, and the boy told the mom, "You're never there. My sister is my friend. And so he is the one I talk to, is the one I, tell everything that's wrong with me." So of course, the guy impregnated the sister, and because of the shame, they went to abort it the first time, aborted the second time, and the girl died. And so, of course, the boy said, "The only partner I have, because I don't see you as my friend, the only partner I have, you have killed." And the boy committed suicide. And by the time the woman was relating this, she was already old. Of course, the husband sent her out, packing. You understand? So at the end of the day, what's the advantage? You have the money, but no children. Your future is gone. And so no matter how busy we are as parents, particularly the woman, thank God I'm a woman, you must always create time for your children. You must slot it in anyhow, any way. It must be slotted in so that we don't keep losing these young children. When you discourage them, they don't like it. You are supposed to encourage them. I read the story of Ben Carson, and that thing touched me when I was growing up. The mom was one that, because he was dull initially, but the mom kept telling him positive things. You will do well, don't worry. You will do, it was positive every time. And that's how Don Ben Carson rose up to be who he is today. And so we should stop discouraging these children because they don't like it. Public embarrassment, or when we belittle them, maybe when in the public, keep quiet, just treat them as if, this African kind of, I can do whatever I like. I'm the mother, I'm the father, But we need to be sensitive enough that these children don't like it, because I told us about independence. They want to have independence. They are feeling like adults, so they don't want anybody to just relegate them. So when you don't trust them, they don't like it. When you don't trust them, they want you to trust them. They want you to be able to trust their abilities. Give them a task, let them do it. Test them on problem solving, let them be able to solve problems. Even if you are there, give them that task to handle. You understand? So, but when you don't trust them, you understand? And so like that, they don't like it. When you treat them as little children and do everything for them, we are going to school, okay, I'll follow you. We are going to talk to your sister, we are following you. And they don't like it to be treated as children. When you don't listen to them, as parents, we need to develop our listening skills. It's one of the communication skills that is essential that we need to develop. Listen first. Even if they are saying jargons, listen first. Listen to what they have to say, then you can now provide your own solution. When you cannot keep a secret, particularly the women, They tell you something immediately, your husband has heard. You know, they don't like it. They will never tell you anything again. Never. Once you just divulge their information, that is the end of it. Don't expect them to open up to you again. When you don't always respect their privacy, yes, they are our children. But when you enter, just open the room anyhow. Or, you know, you just must treat them because that is how they are developing. It's not their fault. Then dictator parents who are not friends, they don't like that. When you are, they can't talk to you. Because your own is give instruction and let it be done. Whoever dies is not your business. They don't like it when you are not their friends. I conducted a survey some time ago among young children, and I asked them who they confide in. 99% don't confide in their parents. 99. And I asked them why. They said their parents will be judgmental. Parents will talk to their friends about, they will discuss them, they use them as a point of discussion. You know, they mention all sorts of things. Only about 1% talk to their parents. So these are issues that parents should actually look critically, look at and find a way to change. Parents who are not present in the lives of their children, they don't like it. I remember a meeting I went for, and he's not even an adolescent now, a young person, a lady. She asked me if you are trying to get your mommy's attention. Now she's not always there. Sometimes when she's available, she says, please, I'm tired. That who do you talk to? For her to ask that kind of question, it was really a burden in her heart. So parents, with some of us, are not available for our children. So responsibilities of parents. We are free to add many after the presentation, but these are the things I think I want to share. We need to pray for wisdom to guide them aright. If you are here and you are not yet, you don't have a child yet, I think it's better it's better because let me say that the preparation for the child and the training for that child starts from when the child is in your uterus. It starts from there. You must pray for that child. Everything you want to see in that child, you must pray. I remember this thing works because I practiced it with my daughter. And when I was doing residency, and I of course, I was really very busy, it was stressful. And so I wanted a peaceful child. So I told myself, I always pray. I said, this child, you will be peaceful. You will not give me problem. I will pray everything I wanted. I said it on. And exactly, very peaceful child. I carry her to Abuja. She will remain in the room till I come back. Anywhere I went. And sometimes when I needed to drop her with my mom, she would just tell me, mommy, bye-bye. And that was it. And that was how I was able to complete my residency peacefully. So we need to start saying and prophesying over them right where they are in the uterus. Then we need, like I said, pray for wisdom to get them right. We can't do it. We don't. Bible says that whoever lacks wisdom should ask. We really need wisdom. God should guide and direct us on how to bring up these children, particularly in this very volatile world of ours today. Then we need to pray for them, apart from all of this that I've been saying. And that's why I made it number 1 and number 2. Prayer is very essential. Pray for them. Pray for them is really every day. Make sure you say a word of prayer and God should guide them aright. It is important to pray for them. Then introduce them to God early. As a parent, if you don't know God, then you can introduce God to your children. Because I believe that this perverse world is only God that can guide these children aright. We need to introduce them to God. Let's buy devotionals for them. Let them be reading their Bible. Let's discuss with them like your friends. It's important. Pick a scripture in the Bible, discuss with them, have a chat, laugh over it. Nothing too serious. You can just be on the bed and just chat over it, and you pray with them, tell them to pray, different things, just use different approaches. But the intention should be, we need to introduce them early to God. Then get knowledge, because you need information to guide your children. The world is dynamic. We need knowledge as parents. I'll be mentioning so many things I'm sure that many of our parents have not heard before. Life building skills, resilience skills. These are things that we need to know. Comprehensive sexuality education. What does it? What are the components of it? Then, like the world is changing. As these role models that attract these children. Let's also find out about these role models. I remember one. I not because all these celebrities. I don't really listen to their songs and all that. But there was one. I was in a car the one day and I heard the radio. They said one that they don't wear pants and all that. I didn't know about it. I said, okay, opportunity. Let me use that one to gist with my children. So I came home. I didn't know they had heard about it. So we just started gisting. I said, okay, you don't want to wear pants, we don't gist it, and that was it. And I passed my message across to them, and they learned it. So let's also find out some of this information. What is happening online? What is happening? What was the gist? So that you use it to train them. Like recently, we're talking about homosexuality. Brothers are gay, So the other one said, what is gay? And then we did a kind of small lecture on gay, homosexuality, what God likes, what God does not like. And we ended it. It wasn't a serious discussion, but it was like a gist. So let's find out what is happening. What are the things that people are talking about? And introduce it early. Let them guide them. Because if we say, don't read there, don't go to television, don't watch internet, don't do this, we are just deceiving ourselves. Then there was a day I was talking about pornography. Whenever you have your phone, some of these sites just pop up. So I said, pornography, let's not talk about pornography. I started talking about pornography, what it does to your mind, so that when they see it pop up when they have the phone, they know what to do with it. So all of these things, let's introduce them and quickly tell them the right thing and the wrong thing, so that when they are alone on their own, they can make informed decisions, a good decision. Then bond closely with your children as friends, preferably before they become adolescents. Before they become 10 years, let's quickly bond them. See them as your friend, gist with them, run around with them, do all sorts of things with them. It's easier to manage. And when you have never been friends with them, they now become adolescents, you might have to do a lot more work to be able to bond at that stage. Have intimate conversations with them as friends. Use your own example. I've told them how I met my husband. So many things. I just tell them anything so that they can talk to me freely. I don't want anything to come in so that whenever they are having challenges, I can quickly, sort it out. So ensure you give quality time and attention to your adolescents is important. Let's give quality time to them. Let's, maybe to understand them, understand their mood, quickly move if you need to intervene on time. Sharpen your listening skills. Always listen. Be a listening father, be a listening mom. It is important. Don't be judgmental. When they tell you things, I remember my own. There was a time I was even in the university, maybe 400 level, and I had delayed menstrual period. It was delayed about 35 thereabout, and I was afraid. And I told my mom, "Mommy, this is what I'm experiencing." She said, "Hey, you have started. You have." There was nothing she didn't say. So, and for me to have gone to her, definitely I knew that I was nothing. Nothing. I was not involved in anything. For me to have gone up to her, I expected her to, help me. I made up my mind that day that she would never hear anything from me. It was a decision I made. Till now, I don't discuss anything like that with her. So we should not get to that level. Let's not be judgmental. Let's freely talk to them when they have issues, no matter how stupid it may be. Let's listen and let's try to find a solution together. Then don't give them comprehensive sexuality education. Of course, I said I'll be doing this meeting like every 2 months. So one of the days, maybe I think of, discussing what this really means to our parents so that we can help our children. Take interest in what interests them. This is all about bonding with them. So whatever interests them, you can go and watch film together, do different stuff together that can bond, the relationship. Don't impose your opinion on them. Rather have a dialogue and provide facts where your opinion should be adopted. Don't, particularly career. I know somebody who has almost committing suicide because her parents forced a career on her. At the end of the day, your own may, it might eventually do yours, but don't impose it. Discuss it, have it. You can even browse together. Okay, being a doctor, what does it entail? That also increases the relationship. Then be a good role model. Let it not be do as I say, but don't do as I do. Children learn passively. You know, whatever they see you do is what they take up. Particularly when I talked about the cognitive changes. It is the value that today, integrity is one of my values today because of my dad. My dad has that high level of integrity. And that is what I picked up. He didn't teach me, but I picked it up from his behavior. So the same way, we must have good moral values as parents for our children to be able to pick these things in us. Like yesterday, I was asking my daughter, sorry, I'm making effort because it's more practical for me like that. I asked her, I said, who is your mentor? She first said, no, nobody. This is not, oh, no, it's my mommy, it's my mommy. I said, why? I said, why are you making me your mentor? She said, you write books to inspire me, you do this. You do. I said, okay. I didn't talk, I just kept quiet. You understand? So these are ways, and so from there, I have to check myself again to say, you can't mess up. This girl is really looking at you. You understand? So we must be good role models to our children. Then you must believe in them. Believe in their abilities. Give them tasks to handle. You can only supervise them on it. Guide them to do it. Have a positive mental attitude to be able to develop a positive attitude in them. If you are not positive, if everything is, everything, before you say anything, you are negative, then you can never pass across positive things to them. Even if bad things happen, tell them all things work together for good. As a standing order, they know anything negative, I don't want to hear. Even if they have a course that is difficult, I don't want to hear I can't. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear it's difficult. I tell you that pay attention. When you pay attention, then it can't be difficult. So they know anything negative, it is banned. It's a taboo. You dare not say it. So that we develop this positive attitude in them and they can grow with it. Encourage and support them even when they fail. There are times they fail. We need to encourage them. Don't always say, I used to be number one when I was in school, or and when they do right, you reward them. It might be something simple. You can buy a bottle of Coke for them. You can buy ice cream. Reward them for the little things that they know that you see them do that is positive. Then teach them using life experiences and examples they can relate with. Sometimes you use Nollywood to teach them. You can use sometimes maybe the club. That's the one I know I've done. When the children when they go to club, all these young people, you teach them, because I know I can never go to club. So definitely I need to teach them what club means. So teach them about clubbing, what the advantage, disadvantage, what it can lead them to and what it cannot lead them to. So these are examples, things that they can relate with. Maybe when you see a madman that is smoking or something, use that example. You can see, if those ones that indulge in drug abuse and all that, this is what it leads them to. So things that they can relate with, that they will always remember, use it as an example for them. Try not to nag. I know it might be difficult for some mothers. Give your instruction once and keep quiet. Just leave them, believe them. Give your instruction once and keep quiet. Develop their problem-solving skills by giving them tasks to handle while you guide them through the process. Develop their life-building skills. This includes goal setting, decision-making, value, dreams, self-esteem. So many things are in this package that maybe we need to pick in one of the days to discuss. Then build their resilience skills, because you see the way the world is right now. Challenges are everywhere. It's inevitable. You can't run away from challenge. It's one of the things that will even make you a strong person in life. Challenges will always come. So when we paint the picture that everything is, by the time they ask you anything, you give them. They ask for this, you give them. They ask for this, you give them. You are not building their resilience skills, because at the end of the day, when they face some challenges, they may not be able to cope. So there are also steps on how to build that. Maybe that will be another time. Then correct them in love. They need to be corrected in love. Prove to be a worthy and trusted friend they can always confide in. You know the way we keep our friends. We should prove to be good friends that they see us as friends they can always confide in. Don't be judgmental. Don't shout them down. Listen to them. These are characteristics of the friends that they want to, they want to bond with you. Then keep their secrets. Our mommies, please keep their secrets. When they confide in you, don't tell daddy first unless necessary. Let's keep their secrets. If it's something you can manage at your end, try to manage it. Then if you now know, then you tell them, I want to tell your father, and they agree, and, that's how to manage them. Build their confidence by letting them freely express themselves. Because these are things that when you keep shouting them down, you don't let them, express themselves freely, then they might face inferiority complex later in life. Never compare your children with one another. Please don't do that. Don't ever, it's better than you. This one is better than you. No, please. Let's try as much as possible to fight that spirit that makes us to compare our children with the other, because everyone is unique. They are not accidents. They are all unique. Try to find their strengths, their weaknesses, and try to find it. Even we ourselves as parents, are we perfect? So we should not compare our children. They all have different gifts. They are unique in their own right. Let's just try to manage them like that. So in conclusion, the potential of adolescents is better harnessed for productive use when they are guided and supported lovingly and intentionally throughout the vulnerable phase of their lives. I said intentionally. We need to be intentional about it. It's really important. Let's reach out to them. That friendship should be intentional, because you know what you want to achieve. Let's bond with them intentionally so that we can get the best out of them. So thank you so much, and God bless you for listening to me. Any questions, please? Please, if you have any question, kindly unmute yourself and ask your question. Or you want comments to make? Please signify first by raising your hand so that I can, identify you and call you. Please, if you have questions, kindly raise your hand, or if you have comments.
Good evening. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Dr Yetty.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I didn't join early enough, but I think I enjoyed the parts that I went through. It's quite enlightening. Thank you so much for all you said and all that, and things to really note. So I was just wondering, is it possible to be a perfect parent? Is it possible to be perfect? Is it possible to be able to do all you have said? Because at times, when you can't do one, you may want to do one part more than the other. Let me give a very beautiful example. I run a very busy life, and we know how Lagos life can be. So at the end of the day, I may not be so much available. So I would like to compensate by ensuring that everything that my children need, at least, should be available. You understand? And then I try, and the little time I have to listen to them. But it may not be possible to listen to all, because I understand that the best time to actually get everything from the child is as soon as they are getting back home from school. You start up the gist and you keep on the gist until we sleep. But in a Lagos life, when you spend so much time in the hold up, then all that. So by the time you come back, they are about going to bed. You are tired. So we now tend to want to compensate with the little weekend, going out and buying whatever they may want to ask for. So that's why I'm asking, is it actually possible to be able to carry out all of this as much as you try to be a good parent? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dupe. Thank you so much for your question. Well, it's not, we are not perfect. So there's nothing perfect anywhere. And so, I started with number one thing I mentioned was that pray for wisdom. As much as possible, the essence of this meeting is for us to understand that this adolescent period is a vulnerable period. It's vulnerable. And so as much as possible, we should try to close the gap so that we will not lead these children, in the wrong path. I would say that, like, I was listening to a lady who, also was talking about parenting and all that. She's also very busy, but she said that in a very busy schedule, she tries as much as possible at least to see them before they sleep. She talks to them. I believe that you can work something out within your schedule. Having this knowledge and knowing that These are the things I'm trying to, the gaps I'm trying to bridge. So you can always work out something between you and your husband so that to, bridge that gap. Like I said, it's only God that is perfect. Nobody is perfect. But it's good for us to have this knowledge so that wherever possible, we can, we can bridge the gap. Thank you. Any other question, please? Yeah, Blessing. Please kindly unmute yourself and ask your question. Blessing's iPhone. I don't know. Blessing's iPhone. Please unmute yourself and ask your question. Blessing, are you there?
Yes, good evening, ma'am. My name is Blessing Alabi.
Okay, good evening.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Please, my question is this. Looking at it, what our parents did those days, that this issue of being friendly with kids these days, they take it for granted sometimes. Then if your parent says, do this, the fear of, oh, this is what my mom would do. How do we manage that together? Like, you want to be their friend, and at the same time, at least there should be an iota of fear in them that, oh, if my mommy catch me doing this, so they should not just be free like that, like doing wrong things. How do we manage it together? That's my question.
Okay, thank you. Of course, they should, even God has two sides. They said it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. There's a merciful side of God, and there's a terrible side of God. For me, it doesn't take me anything to switch, sincerely. And my father too, I think that he plays with us, but the other side, that don't just go near. So I still believe that you can still do the two. When they do, the normal day, if they are not done anything wrong, of course you can you flow with them, you be their friend, but let them know what you will not tolerate. And when you beat them for any wrongdoing, explain to them, this is why I beat you. This is the implication. And this is, if you are not a disciplined child, let me give an example. I always tell my children that if you don't read your book, you will be poor. I always let them know what they can, give them examples they can relate with. You want to sell pepper in the market, you want to sell tomatoes. So I now saw this afternoon. So one guy was on wheelchair and was asking me for money. So I now said, so he said, I greeted him and we now left. So he now asked me, he said, Mommy, so is it because he did not go to school that he's poor? And I first kept quiet. I didn't know how to answer that question. So I now told him, I said, yes, being not going to school may be one of the factors, but there are other reasons why somebody can be poor. I said, but ultimately, know God. When you know God, you will not be poor. I have to just explain it like that. So they know definitely that there are repercussions for certain action. I taught them on decision making yesterday. So they know that when you do this, there's a repercussion for it. There's a consequence of your decision. So I let them know. So if you, sometimes when they come to school, when they come back from there, say, my teacher beat me. What did you do? If you were naughty, you deserve to be beaten. I don't pamper children like that. No. If you were naughty, then you'll be beaten. That is the consequence of being naughty. So they know. So if you do anything wrong, you will be beaten or you will be scolded or something like that. So, but if they do things right, there's no reason not to, be their friends. I don't really see it as a problem. Thank you. Am I Blessing?
Yes, you have. Thank you, ma.
Thank you. Then I think it is Kajero, ma. Hello, ma.
Hello.
Kajero, can you unmute yourself, ma?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, ma.
Okay, yeah. This is Mrs. Kajiro's sister.
Okay. Thank you, ma.
I'm holidaying with her from the UK.
Okay.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes,
Sorry,
I can hear
there's
you.
a noise at the background, the gen. But can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Thank you for what you do, first and foremost.
Thank you.
I'm a pastor and I also work with children.
Okay, ma.
And I also help them a lot. I like the fact that you stress the point of befriending our children.
Yes, ma'am.
With my experience of working with teenagers, a lot of our parents, and I'm being honest here, a lot of parents, especially the Nigerian community, please bear in mind I'm as a diasporan. A lot of parents, especially Nigerian community, really do not understand that part of befriending children. So what tends to happen is that the children end up, speaking to outsiders, what they could have learned, what they could have about, they would rather speak to outsiders. I'll use an example of, I was teaching the children just about January before I left the UK. And then we were discussing something, it was actually a Bible study, and we're discussing something about the cost of discipleship. And I was being realistic. I was telling them that definitely it will cost you your time and, etc. And a particular child just said, Pastor, can I ask you something? And I said, yeah. And then she said, okay, I'm going to ask you this because I know you won't judge me. Did you hear what I just said?
Yes, I heard.
Yes. Because I know you won't judge me.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, you go ahead. And then she said, oh, I've got this boy in the school that is so much interested in me, blah, 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 blah. And he's saying all this and he's saying that and everything. And I said, let me be honest with you first. I like the fact that you can trust me to open up to me. And then I decided to explain to that child that, you are in year probably. And I'm saying that if a boy is telling you he loves you at that stage, he doesn't even understand what love is, by the way. I decided to take the child through, explain to.
Hello, ma.
That you need.
Okay.
That is, number one, going to derail you. Number two, is going to mess up your journey in life. And then by the time we finished, she said, oh, thank you for taking time to explain things. She said, but you know what? If I had told my mom or my dad, they would have said, Orie, Kilotiro, And then she said, they wouldn't even listen. They wouldn't even, go, the way you have gone through with me. What am I saying in essence? It's very, very important to befriend our children so that they will be able to tell us the things that, even those stupid things, they will tell you.
Yeah.
But even when they tell you, the first thing is not to the first thing is to listen to what they have to say. If they know that you are going to be shouting them down, they will never, ever talk to you.
Yeah.
Never. Yeah. You can call me anywhere, and I'm sure that they will never talk to you. If they know that, okay, that if they say this to you, you're going to go tell Sister A, and then the next thing everybody in the church will know the business of that child, forget it, you have lost that child.
Yeah.
I understand that in Africa, we raise our children, like it's a community that raises children. However, your child must be able to have confidence in you, that whatever he's saying to you is safe with you.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get what I'm trying to say.
Yes, I do.
That child must know that my secret is safe with my mom, is safe with my auntie. Yeah. Otherwise, that child will keep telling the teacher outside, will keep telling everyone outside, but never you. Thank you. That's just my little contribution.
Thank you so much for the wonderful contribution, ma. You appreciate it. Mrs. Ogumakinwa, kindly unmute yourself, ma.
Hello, ma. Good evening, ma.
Good evening, ma.
Thank you for this beautiful message.
Thank you, ma.
Well, my question is, like me, I have male children. And these male children, in fact, they are always right in their own way. And my question now is, when they want to do anything that is wrong, they can't be right at all times. And in one of the points of what they hate is that they don't like us to discourage them, that we should not discourage them. And when they now want to do something that is not right, and you have shown them love, you have let them know that this thing is wrong, But by the time you get to that point of this thing that you want to do is wrong, they still see you as if you don't want that you are not giving them that freedom. It's always a problem to me to discourage them to do something that is not good. Something that you know that as a mother, this thing is not good, it's not right. You can't do it this way. But yet they still see you as if you are interfering into their affairs. How can you?
Thank you so much, Ma. I think that maybe you need to call them. I don't know if you have been their friends from day one. I don't know if you have that kind of relationship with them. If you do, then it makes it very easy. You call them, you discuss, you talk about the consequences of their decisions. And because that's why you are their mother, you let them know that this will lead you to this place. This will lead you to this end. This other thing will, if you take this route, it will lead you to this end. You need to let them know, have a dialogue with them. So maybe you need to a bit change your approach in correcting them. Maybe they listen better because and you can look for examples. You can sit down together. You can browse, because I can go to any length to pass across my own message. You can browse, look for that thing that they want to do. You can look, so if they want to